Assalamualaikum. This first poem is titled Crafted by Allah the Most High. Crafted by Allah the Most High. Opportunities not limited by the sky. Thinking magnified by the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with him. He had a dream of entering the Kaaba, and that we all came in. Walking, walking, walking with this language on our tongue, looking down on not anyone. We are not the only ones with a responsibility, a duty to stand up for what's right, a mirror for each other who say we believe. Walking, walking, walking with this language on our tongue, looking down not on anyone. We are not the only ones Allah has blessed with life. We are not the only ones with a responsibility, a duty to stand up for what's right, a mirror for each other who say we believe. Walking, walking, walking with this language on our tongue. Balanced and sober, looking down not on anyone. We are not the only ones Allah blesses with light, magnified with believers of good faith, like the sun. The sun shines bright. This second poem is titled A Good Future. Inshallah, we are striving to give our leader a good future. A good future. These spaces are built for your light. And guess what? You created them. We created them. We own the property. We own the land. The moral standard that we set forth is understood, respected, and represented. Our prices can always go up. The value that we bring is unmatched. The value that we bring is needed. Those that came before you gave their life's worth of contribution, and we are building on their shoulders. We are an extension of legacy. Excellence is the standard. We don't want moral corrosion, moral degradation, or moral discrepancies. We want moral excellence that comes from foundational excellence. Home training happening in the home, and community training happening in the community. Intergenerational community involvement, because that strengthens our unity. Unity is diverse. We are not a monolith as long as we hold on to what is pleasing to God. God's way is our preferred path. Preserve your light, share your gifts. The believers will have the last laugh. Rivers overflowing in paradise, they're glowing. Reunited with their loved ones who preceded them. You hold on to God and keep your faith. You are sure to win spiritually and materially. Both stabilize your movement. One foot in front of the other, walk that walk, you can do this. Respect God's creation like you are God's creation, and you are. A beautiful piece of humanity, shine bright like the brightest star or the most eclectic gem. We have our own light, and our light starts within. It starts in the soul. It emanates through you. Protect your soul. It matters what you do. It matters how you live. The soul is important, the only thing no one else can manage. You can't let the world take advantage. We purify ourselves when we pray. We purify ourselves multiple times each day. We don't want moral corrosion, moral degradation, or moral discrepancy. We strive for moral excellence, a state that we can achieve. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, brothers and sisters. As we get ready to move into the screening and the panel discussion, just two notes. If you have not visited the vending area, please make sure you do so before you leave. Also, in that area, there's a new Africa Legacies History exhibit, exhibiting our history. You would also take a look at that as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. So as you're getting your food, please come in to the seating area because we will start screening the Clara True documentary momentarily. And hopefully all of you received the program for the evening and also Clara's True gift bags courtesy of Director Morgan, They look like this. Make sure you get one. That's a keepsake for you to take home. I just want to point out that on the back of your program, you will see QR codes for Brother Morgan's documentary. He's established a Claris Flute Learning Lab with the Smithsonian. There's a QR code on the back for that. His director's reel, QR code for that, and all the books, well, some of the books about Sister Clara Muhammad that are here on the table. The QR codes to purchase those are on the back of your program as well. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Director Morgan Matthews with one T. Morgan Matthews is an Atlanta-based writer, director, and community archivist whose work bridges the worlds of fiction, documentary, and memory. Driven by a sense of wonder, empathy, and emotional texture, his films explore Black and Muslim identities through intimate, character-driven storytelling. His short documentary, Clara's Fruit, a two-time Islamic Scholarship Fund recipient, now streams on PBS. And let's give a round of applause for that. And his narrative short film, Half Day, which previously streamed on Xfinity, has screened at festivals including Black Star, SF Film, Atlanta Film Festival, and the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. So a round of applause for that. A recent first place and audience award winner at the 2025 Oscars Comedy Pitch, Morgan continues developing projects under his creative studio, No Texture. You can follow Morgan's journey on Instagram at Directed by Morgan. And again, his QR code is on the back. Without further ado, I bring to you Director Morgan Matthews.
Assalamualaikum. Alhamdulillah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hosting me. Thank you, Sister Akila, for all that you've done to lead up to this event, and everyone who has planned for us to be here. Alhamdulillah, the best of planners, Allah, for making all of this happen. I want to share that Clara's Fruit, the intention of this short documentary, and it is short, it's a 16-minute film, was to really be an invitation, right? It's hard to tell the entire comprehensive, story in 16 minutes, but with the resources that come to your disposal, you may do with what you can. And the reason I say this film is an invitation, it's an invitation to our community who's familiar with this history to be reminded. It's an invitation for the younger generation in our community to understand how they got here and the labor and the love and the wisdom that went into building this community. And it's also an invitation for those that aren't as familiar with our community to learn, to understand, to investigate further about the richness of how Black Muslims have contributed to this entire country and to this entire world, because so much of the African American Muslim story is not told with nuance, it's not told with care. Amongst us it is, but for the rest of the world, right, there's still so much to be explored. And so Clara's Fruit is just that. It's a love letter to legacy, it's a love letter to our history, to our potential, and as it's an invitation, it's also an invitation for you to share it with others, right? Alhamdulillah, the film is screening now on PBS, so people around the country can watch it for free in their homes, on their phones. But I don't want to overtalk, and I want you all to experience the film. And afterwards, we're going to have a panel discussion with some people who are connected to the school system, some very important people who you all are probably familiar with as well. So without further ado, can we cut the lights off? Everybody. Perfect.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, staff and students of the #1 Islamic school in America, Muhammad Schools of Atlanta. Today is February 16, 2024. Please hold the hands to place for dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
My name is Khalil Ali. Before anything, I'm a believer, a husband, and a father. But as this school year wraps up, I'm really thinking about one of the most important jobs I've taken on. Being the principal of a private Islamic school, definitely has its challenges, but they're nothing compared to how the school system started. Nearly 90 years ago, the dream was planted by my great-grandmother, Sister Clara Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. So let's continue the lesson on Sister Clara Muhammad. Last week, he left off at a point in 1932, when she and other members of the Nation of Islam began removing their children from discriminatory public schools in Detroit, Michigan. Now, who can tell me what came next? Aisha, go ahead.
Well, the Nation of Islam community was slowly growing, and Sister Clara and other women decided to begin homeschooling their children.
We have visiting with us today Imam Qasim Ahmed, who is a religious leader in our community. Imam Ahmed, we would like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let us begin today's conversation by getting some insight into just why do you feel that there is a need for Sister Clara Muhammad schools?
Well, first of all, the need for Sister Clara Muhammad School expresses a general need that we find in American society, really becoming more popular now, and that is alternative education from the public school system. The history of Sister Clara Muhammad School speaks to that particular need because it was birthed out of a challenge to teach your own, to teach your own, to teach your own.
Most people know my great-grandparents as the original leaders of the Nation of Islam, but they really just started out as a family from Georgia, struggling to find a new way to survive during the Jim Crow era.
She was very strong physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. She had great integrity. She taught me to remember Allah and remember Him much.
And the next part is what?
In the early 30s, Black children suffered emotional and psychological damage in the public school.
Several concerned persons started private schools to save the children. One of the most successful of them began with members of an extraordinary group of people called the Nation of Islam. My name is Halima Muhammad Ali. I am the granddaughter of the Honorable Elijah and Clara Muhammad. When my grandparents eloped, they actually left the South, and then they moved to the Midwest. Near Detroit, they had their first two children, Emmanuel and Ethel. And then they moved again. And times just got harder because, that's when the Depression. So they suffered a lot and they moved around a lot. My grandfather would just get odd jobs to take care of his family, and it made it almost impossible to make ends meet.
And then they gonna bow out the most much, all things to do, Lord of work. My dear beloved brothers and sisters, I'm happy to be here. Happy to see as many as I do, such a group of people. We feel on each and every one will be happy after leaving this place, this building today.
The Nation of Islam came about as a way to fight the terror, poverty, and poor education that Black people were up against in America at that time. A key part of this movement was the doctrine of do for self. It wasn't just a slogan, it was essential to every way of life, particularly how they focused on their children's education.
Sister Clara Muhammad was threatened at that time in Detroit by truant officers and other officials to put her children back in the public school. And at that time, there were many negative concepts that were being taught, that the Black man or the Negro, what have you, hadn't contributed anything to education, hadn't contributed anything to world growth and development, that they were brought over here as slaves, that that they were brought out of the jungles as a favor by the white man.
Because the public school was not teaching you about yourself. It was teaching you to be less than, to follow somebody else. Even the curriculum, all those kinds of things have been structured through somebody else's idea, somebody else's dream, somebody else's concept of you, that you were not equal. And so she determined that she was not going to allow her children to attend public school.
When the school started out, of course, it was homeschool, and there were parents that were being arrested. The fathers, and they were being put in prison for not going to the draft, and also for not enrolling their children in the public schools in New York. Her strength in terms of refusing to put her children in school over her dead body, these are the statements that she made, really earned the name of Sister Clara Muhammad School, because mothers have a strong tendency for wanting to teach their children anyway. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, paradise lies at the feet of the mother. Our next act is going to be done by Crystal Shahid singing Mother. Let's give Crystal a nice round of applause, especially you mothers.
Mother, mother, so gentle and so sweet. God has placed all the life at your feet.
Mother leadership is necessary. Imam Muhammad said that man means mind, and woman means the womb of mind. And it is from the women that all life comes, all life. That means that the life of the community comes from the woman.
That's a beautiful song. And Sister Crystal singing Mother, very good.
When we put things in perspective, we were only, at the time Sister Clara Muhammad decided she was going to teach her children at home, we were what, maybe 60, 70 years up from the emancipation. So now, here is a generation of people who still don't know how to read and write. When Sister Clara Muhammad decided that she was going to teach her children at home, she didn't want to teach her children. She taught adults how to read and write. So when we think about the University of Islam, that was the name that she gave it, so that we can think on a higher level. We didn't think it was elementary school or primary school. We thought we were in a university to be those of higher level thinking. And grew from Sister Clara Muhammad's living room into the homes of others, and then into actual buildings and schools. So it grew from that to maybe 40, 50 schools that we had all over the country.
Okay, what are some of the principles that Sister Clara Muhammad School espoused or uphold
Well, first of all, Sister Clara Muhammad School is an alternative school, it's an Islamic school. And its philosophy was based on the Holy Quran, which is the book of the Muslim, as well as the Sunnah or life of Prophet Muhammad. And this is the two basic fundamentals that we find Sister Clara Muhammad established on.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen.
If we establish our goals for Arabic and Islamic studies, then I think we'll be able to come together and create our methodologies of teaching Arabic and Islamic studies to our students.
Assalamualaikum. I will recite Surah An-Nahl. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A'udhu birabbil nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharri waswasil nas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas.
Sister Clara Muhammad passed in 1972. That was a very tough time for us to lose such a wonderful woman that we loved. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed in 1975. And when he passed in 1975, Imam Muhammad became the leader of the community. And that was a wonderful time because now we're embracing true Islam.
And I want to Clara Muhammad, who never received more than 7 grades education. She said, son, the highest I was able to go in school was 7th grade. And my father told us the highest he was able to go in school was the 3rd grade.
Imam Muhammad said the curriculum that we're using at this University of Islam is not sufficient enough. It wasn't that we didn't have good teachers, but the orientation was based on these beliefs that we had. And so when Imam Muhammad came in, he closed many of the schools so that we could reorganize and get a more classical curriculum. And doing that, he renamed the schools after his mother, Sister Clara Muhammad's schools. So here, Imam Muhammad was taking a step of establishing that this school is going to be named after a woman, and women can be leaders in a Muslim community. Yeah.
You have to make an investment. You have to make an investment in the future. So I want us to invest in the future of our children. If we don't invest materially, if we don't invest in education, strong schools, then really we don't have much. We don't have much at all.
Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet my great grandmother. But if I could talk to her today, I'd ask her to pray for this little boy that grew into the man that desires to hold up her legacy alongside this community.
The mission of Muhammad Schools of Atlanta is to provide an education based on Quranic principles and their universal application. Our goal is to teach all students to accept their God-given responsibilities and full potential as we promote a nurturing environment that engages students in discovery and critical thinking.
Secondly, order with the best of morals. Third, give a light and then enlighten. Fourth, cultivated and groomed by the excellent example. And on this 5th day, we are being harvested to share our bounties and wealth with the awakening world.
We must step up, human beings. We must step up as Khalifa to do our job. We must fulfill our commitment to Allah and become leaders.
I believe every child deserves to see the sign of happiness and success. To bloom
like flowers and to be treated with delicate care. We must end the abuse, the neglect, the murder, and the disregard for our young. So many people are lost, wandering aimlessly with no purpose. They think that the only way for them to find out who they are or to escape who they are.
We must ask ourselves, is war really the answer? Is it really worth it? The price and cost of war will always outweigh whatever victories may be gained.
Peace is compassion, wisdom, and justice. Peace is a state of mind free from intolerance and aggression.
Today's society, due to many controversies and criticism our religion has faced recently, it is essential for us as young Muslims to be filled with pride in God and self.
Let's give another round of applause for Director Morgan for that beautiful documentary about the life and the legacy of Sister Clara Muhammad. This documentary is a very important part of our history, and I'm glad that Brother Morgan has decided to put it into film and have it recorded for generations and generations to come. Brother Morgan is going to moderate our panel discussion, and before he does that, I'm going to bring up our other panelists. We have Sister Layla Muhammad, daughter of Imam Mercy Muhammad, granddaughter of Sister Clara Muhammad, Dr. Rhonda K. Muhammad, whose parents, Sister Margaret Rose Muhammad and Imam Kenneth Muhammad, established the first University of Al-Islam and mosque in the state of North Carolina, and who are the founders of the building that we are sitting in, formerly the Vital Link, and Sister Najla McLean. Her mother, Sister Bahija Rashid, was a principal at the Sister Clara Muhammad School in Durham. Dr. Judy Rashid was unable to make it with us today. She had a family emergency. She planned to be on the panel. So Brother Morgan has general questions for the panel, and he has also curated specific questions for each panelist according to their relationship to Sister Clara Muhammad and Sister Clara Muhammad schools. So I will be reading the responses for Dr. Judy for the two questions that he curated for her. So I will turn it over to Director Morgan. Yes, we have an announcement from Sister Fonda.
Assalamu alaikum. We apologize for the little mishap we had with food. That's the bad news. Oh, that is good news because I apologize. But the good news is we do have some food. It was just a miscommunication with the catering ourselves. So for those of you who have not eaten, please get your meal first. For those of you who have eaten, know that we have seconds. So say Tabir, Tabir.
Assalamualaikum. No, you okay. I'll take it. Thank you. So before introducing our panelists more formally, I just want to take a few moments to talk about just the journey of the film, if that's all right. So to give folks some context, I did not grow up in this school system or this community. I took my Shahada when I was 18, 2 weeks before I went to Howard University. And I'm not the first Muslim I met on Howard's campus was a graduate of Clara Muhammad Schools in Atlanta, Sharif Abdul-Malik, with that. And Sharif then went on to introduce me to my wife, Brianna Matthews, who's also a graduate of Clara Muhammad Schools in Atlanta. And so in terms of, just this reality that, Allah makes no mistakes, this is a manifestation of that, right? I didn't intend years ago to say, one day I'll make a documentary about, Sister Clara Muhammad and her legacy. But I met people who impacted my life deeply who just happened to go to this school. And so as a storyteller, a part of my mission or North Star is to, tell stories about the things that you're obsessed with or that you feel closest to or that you ponder over. And so this this school system, this individual, Sister Clara Muhammad, that Allah be pleased with her, that Allah grant her the highest ranks of paradise, and Allah expand her grave and fill it with light. And happy birthday to Sister Clara Muhammad on this day. It was just all written, you know, it was all written. And so the journey of this film started back in the spring of 2024. There was this opportunity to apply for a film grant called the Islamic Scholarship Fund. And so we applied, me and my team applied for this grant with this idea in mind of telling a story about the legacy of Sister Clara Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, we received the grant, but that was just the first step because, you know, filmmaking in some ways can be a very, very hard endeavor to encounter because there's so many moving pieces, there's so many things you want to touch on, and you need the resources. But it's not as hard as compared to what's Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad and all the pioneers did. Nothing compares, you know, in terms of what we went through, right? So we put out a crowdfunding campaign and we're able to raise a certain amount of money within 30 days, alhamdulillah. And that was what helped us get all the resources we need to make this film within 10 months, essentially. And from there, the journey of getting the film out is the journey that we're on now. So our first screening was at the Smithsonian National African American History Museum in DC. We screened it at some film festivals. We screened it at Masjid Al-Taqwa in Chicago. We screened it in Canada. We screened it in Atlanta a few times. And I'm saying all that to just share the reach of this story being viewed is critically important. And the fact that it's now PBS and people can just watch it, you know, is an amazing, amazing thing. And it doesn't happen with the screen went down, but it doesn't happen without so many du'as and just a labor of love and sweat equity from everyone involved, from myself to my producers, to our community. So, alhamdulillah. Thank you. All right. Looking forward to this discussion that we're about to have with our panelists here. Yes, look forward to a great conversation. So first up, we have Sister Layla, who's a fifth generation African Bilalian American Muslim. She's an educator, community advocate, born in Philadelphia, raised in Chicago, and now residing in New Jersey. She graduated from the University of Islam School, now known as the Sister Clara Muhammad School System, name changed in honor of her grandmother. Currently, Sister Layla works with a team of educators on curriculum and policy in that 80-plus-year-old private education system. She holds a degree in child development, has extensive studies in behavior science, is a published author, certified domestic violence advocate, certified private mediator, and certified Reiki practitioner. For more information, please visit sisterlayla.com. We also have Dr. Judy Rashid, who is not here, so she's here with us in spirit. Please make dua for her mother. In 1973, Dr. Judy Rashid began her educational career in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at the University of Islam, where she taught Spanish to high school students and also language arts and social studies, of which she developed the entire curriculum for grades K through 12. From 1973 to 88, she remained teacher and served as the principal for 9 of those years. Afterwards, she began her second career in higher education at North Carolina A&T, where she retired as the Dean of Students in 2014 and presently serves as adjunct faculty instructing PhD students in leadership studies. Since 1985, she has attained financial support to the Sister Clara Muhammad School Educational Fund of North Carolina. I also have Dr. Rhonda K. Muhammad, who first met Sister Clara Muhammad when her mother and her visited her home in Chicago when she was 15 or 16 years old. During Dr. Muhammad's sophomore year in college, she received a call from her mother to come home to travel to Chicago to attend Sister Clara's funeral. When she completed undergraduate school, she taught at the University of Islam in Raleigh, North Carolina. Teachers were dedicated and made $50 weekly pay. Businesses in the sale of fish helped to support the school. The grade level was preschool to high school.
Her mother was the first to graduate in this class. Oh, excuse me. No, her brother was the first to graduate in this class. After the name changed in 1975 to Sister Clara Muhammad School, she worked as support staff and organized and reopened in Durham at Lion Park Center. Dr. Muhammad. And last but not least, Nazla Center, right? Nazla McLean is a second generation Muslim born in Springfield, Massachusetts, and raised in Durham, North Carolina, where her family settled in 1978. Her mother, Bahija Rashid, was a local pioneer and educator, serving as principal of Durham's Sister Clara Muhammad School in the early 1980s. Nazla often recalls her mother's joyful exclamation of Alhamdulillah at dawn upon learning she had given birth to a baby girl, a moment that shaped Nazla's commitment to making her voice heard. She describes her scream as one filled with dignity, elegance, history, and pride, honoring the work of her mother, the pioneers of Al-Razak Islamic Center, and the broader Imam Warthdin Muhammad communities. Thank you. So the first question to open up to the panel, do we have one mic? Is that, I'm assuming? It's okay, so. The first question to open up to the panel is, after watching the film and reflecting on the legacy of Sister Clara Muhammad, what comes up for you when you think about her, when you think about her legacy, and when you think about her impact? What are some of the first things that come to heart and mind?
So that's a question that could be answered very a long time, but anyway, I'll try to be concise. What's it again? First of all, I want to say, I purposely didn't look at the clip as I've shared with you, but thank you. It was beautiful. I even got almost a little teary. And then I saw my high school principal, Dr. Denver Pizzetta, and of course my cousin, my dear cousin Halima, and her son come in. Thanks. It was good. I really, really liked it. So, alhamdulillah. But I don't remember the exact words you used to click. Yeah. It's just a couple of things that I think stand out. One is that it's the work, it's the effort, whether it be the school or whatever. But like Imam Muhammad always said that prayer is work. When we work and we pray, it's not just about the ritual. So that's what stands out in my mind about my grandmother as well as the mother of our community. It's just that we got to put the work in. And as you said, it's difficult for us, but nothing like it was for them. So that means we have to work even harder. And then the other thing is that there's a balance, at least when I reflect. My grandmother, she was very stern, Some of my cousins remember like the niceties. But I really can't even, in my mind, remember her smiling. She was very serious the times that I was around her. I do remember her being comfortable in the kitchen and cooking but my point is, from what my parents told me and what other cousins that are older, she had a balance in that she was a mother. And not just because the picture shows it. This picture, I love the picture that where she's bending down, kissing the little girl. And that's what I pick up, is that there was a balance. She's gonna work and you put the work in, but then she loved. That's what. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. When I looked at Clara's fruit, something that touched me very deeply was the evolving nature of the structure of the University of Islam and Sister Clara Muhammad School. When we opened our school here, we were in a house as believers. It was a small little house, but there was this attempt by believers to have a school because we in the Nation of Islam, we heard and we obeyed. That was our mantra. And so if we were going to be a community, education was very important. And so when I sit and look at Clara's fruit, I look at the fruit and the produce that has happened over the last 50 or 60 years to look at a structure that looks like something that really resembles a school. And it makes me feel very proud. Those of you who worked throughout the country in our schools, for us, I was straight out of college. A lot of the brothers and sisters, we were young. We came right out, rolled our sleeves up. It was during the early days of it was even before the civil rights movement, but we were young, we were impressionable. We felt like we were building a nation. And education was a very important part of the nation. And so whatever we had to do, that's what we did. We didn't relegate it to anybody else. We did it. Imam Fleming, when he talked about going to Chicago and being a teacher, that was it. When you came out of school, or when you had you been anywhere near college and had any kind of degree, you were going to serve your community. And that was the tenor of the times. And so when I sit and look at the W.D. Muhammad School in Atlanta, things that capture my attention are the structure and what goes into having a structure like that. The light bill, the maintenance, all of those things, not just the structure, but what goes into maintaining that structure as well. And so as a young person making $50 a week, and my husband selling fish and making $50 a week, I say, Allahu Akbar, we've come a long way.
So I'm passing it back to this way. I think what I got from the screening was just the will and tenacity and the resilience of a stubborn woman who said, my babies ain't gonna be educated outside of my eyesight. They're gonna be right here. You can take me to jail if you want to. Like, it's okay. She knew what she was doing, and to see what that has become, as Sister Rhonda so eloquently just put it, is a great sense of pride. So I think, speaking as one of the students who was at Sister Clara Muhammad School back in Lion Park, is this not being something that was thrown away. Like, people might think we didn't have a choice or it wasn't, but they took care of us. It was intentional. And I still feel that sense of pride today. And even when I walk into certain spaces and certain rooms, it's because this is what got me here. And then to see that is where it came from. So.
Oh, you don't have her answer. Oh, was this, I have answered her. Oh, okay, oh, yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. For this specific question, Mr. Layla, as the granddaughter of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Clara Muhammad, the daughter of Muhammad-Newark Muhammad, how is the importance of education emphasized in the household? What specific things do you remember from your upbringing? Was there any added pressure even to do well in school because of who your parents were?
I chuckled on the last part, but in the household, the education, you asked what is it, what?
How was education emphasized in your household?
So, and we did get these questions, so I remember now. But the what stood out to me in that question was that in our household, I'm specifically talking about my father and mother, okay?
Because I was in my grandparents' house, so I worked there at 12 and 13 for my grandfather. So he passed, in a couple of, the hosting section, the kitchen. I served when the ministers came, then in the accounting office. But specifically for my parents' household, my parents raised me, and the education environment was the same as the Islamic environment. And what it was we knew it was serious. We knew you had to study, you had to learn, but it was like a lived experience. So it wasn't just you do your homework or you get what do you have for homework, but all throughout the day or and the weekend or whatever, when we was playing and when we weren't playing, it was education in Islam. So it was like equal just living, So because I thought about that question, and I think that again is balance. Because as a teacher of early childhood development, and they teach you and tell you that this is the development of the child from the infancy of the fetus to like 21 or something. But what I have learned is this human beings. It applies to us. When I was in school, my professor, Cheryl Triplett, she always would say, the children learn through play. Adults learn through play. That's why we always want to be better. Because you have that desire to be creative, to engage, to have fun. But we just have to learn, put that education within that. I hope I can.
Thank you. Dr. Ronan, a lot of people can't say this, but you got a chance to meet Sister Clara Muhammad when you were a teenager. What stood out about her presence or how she carried herself, or any more specific memories you have about meeting her?
Well, one of the things that stood out, going to the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I was young, I was an adolescent, and one of the things that stood out was the plastic coverings on the sofa. It was a beautiful home, much larger than where I came from. But coming in, and I still see some of that, but and in my mind, that meant that was some really exquisite fabric or whatever that needed to be covered. Okay. But anyway, the other piece is I'm really trying to, as a 74-year-old, I'm trying to go back and think about and bring up those emotions and those feelings, because when we were brought into the space where Sister Clara was, my mother and she were talking, and I'm not sure, Layla, if Sister Clara had started having some health challenges. I can't remember, but I think that was the reason my mom was there, to see her and to give her support. And so just being in that presence, Sister Clara, we had seen pictures of her, we had learned about her, growing up as Muslim because she was the mother of the community. But to actually see her strength came through, even though she was a short-statured woman, the strength of her presence came through. And I may be preceding myself, but it gave me a sense of respect, wanting to emulate or wanting to be something like that, carrying myself in a very upright manner. And so I know you got a preceding question, which I don't want to lead into it before time, but I just felt being in the presence of someone who was stately. And you're right, she did not smile a lot. She was warm, but she wasn't just giddyish and laughing, and she wasn't that kind of woman. And so there was a tremendous degree of respect that I had, and I said, wow, this is phenomenal. And then she and my mother went off in another section, another area, and they talked. So I wasn't a part of that conversation, but I was, you know, in the environment and in the room initially. And so, do you want to lead to the other question? Because you asked about how did it impact me, and I think it did impact me, but go ahead and ask the question.
Yes.
Is that the next one in line or have?
I'm going to get the order.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. We'll talk about it.
But I do want to take a pause to acknowledge how important this is, you know, right here. You all share these, what we call oral history, right? Because, as time passes, I'm glad it's being recorded. As time passes, so does memory, so do our physical beings. And so if we're not being intentionally active about preserving our history, they get erased, they get forgotten. And then there ends up being this gap between generations, and in fact, start becoming engraved. And so I just want to thank you all for sharing these stories. This question is going to be read, or this response is going to be read by Sister Keela, Dr. Rashid, which is, she wrote a full K-12 curriculum for these schools to serve as principal for 9 years in North Carolina. What was the process in creating materials that align with both academic rigor and Islamic values?
Okay, yeah, so I'm reading the response on behalf of Dr. Judy Rashid. She said, I became a teacher in the second year, spring of 1974, of the founding of Sister Clara Muhammad School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Specifically, I wrote the curriculums for language arts and social studies for grades K through 12. Later, I became principal. I developed the curriculum as follows and in this order. Step 1, a student needs assessment of important skills was developed through a review of various curricula of industry standards for each grade. In addition, meetings were held with the believers and parents and imam of the masjid, who served as the director of the school for Islamic guidance, in order to ensure that everything school-related aligned with the aims and goals of education as established by the then World Community of Al-Islam in the West. Step 2, goals, objectives, and student learning outcomes were established for each grade level based on the findings identified in Step 1. Special note, in this step, as determined in the initial founding of the school by the believers and parents and imam of the masjid, each curriculum was intentionally advanced by 1 grade as to ensure that students would graduate in 11 years. For example, the kindergarten curriculum was aligned to the first grade to the second grade, etc. Step 3, curriculum content was determined through various curricula of industry standards. Then textbook and support material were selected that addressed interest areas identified in steps 1 and 2. Step 4, after receiving the established curriculum for their teaching assignment, teachers designed their students' relative class and extracurricular activities, assignments, and instructional methods to achieve the predetermined course goals, objectives, and student learning outcomes, which were then reviewed and approved by the principal. Step 5, curriculum implementation was carried out by the teachers, coupled with an established ongoing evaluation and assessment cycle that garnered feedback from teachers, principal, parents, the imam, and student standardized test scores as to ensure teaching effectiveness, student learning, and achieving the goals and objectives of the school. Alhamdulillah.
Thorough, love it. Now this question is for you. As someone who attended school, but also for a short time, so you have to compare after attending the school and what public schools are like, Sarah. So can you share a little bit more about what you remember from that kind of transition, going from Muhammad School to not attending the one?
So I was thinking about that, coming in. I was just leaving my, I'm aging myself. My 30th high school class reunion weekend. I graduated from Hillside High School. Hillside is one of the last all-Black high schools that was in North Carolina, specifically Durham, before we integrated. So we were I was thinking about that progress, and in the Durham public school systems, there were Durham County schools and Durham city schools. So the city schools were the black schools. So my experience is all black schools for my whole period, and I mean, I went to a private white school for just a little minute. Mama tried that out. See how that went. And that was the difference. We can get into that story, but the difference, because I've had black teachers and black principals like my entire trek from kindergarten through 12th grade. Like looking around at my classmates today, I was like, wow, like one actually went to Sister Clara Muhammad School, KK, Khalida Mouid. She was, and I was like, we've been together since kindergarten. And she was like, we went to East End and Shepherd and all of these black spaces with people who cared for us the way we needed to be cared for. Right. But the difference was at Sister Clara Muhammad School, it was a different level of nurturing. And it was the way we were cared for. So in some of the black schools, I was listening to stories about other teachers who had choice words to keep us motivated. Because we were around the block kids. So I guess they felt that they could speak to us anyway. That would not happen at Sister Clara Muhammad School, right? So the role modeling was there for us. The discipline was there for us to see. So I think that's the big difference is even though I've had the experience of the all black high school, elementary school, middle schools, and then high schools, the time at Sister Clara Muhammad School was that nurturing. It was an intentional nurturing of the child, of the spirit, of who we are. And so that's why we can sit the way we sit today and stand in spaces the way we stand today, because it came from a different type of love and care.
Next question is for, and we will have for audience Q&A as well. This next question is for everyone. So we often think of education in terms of curriculum, but there's also, as been touched on already, there's also culture, discipline, values. Can you all explain, especially going from the University of Islam to Sister Clara Muhammad schools, what was the cultural atmosphere like inside the school?
I'm gonna go because actually I have a similar experience as Najma. I did go to public school, even though I graduated 8th grade and high school from the University of Islam. In my grammar school, kindergarten, and a couple other grades, I think was first. Because we were put out, I went to Enrico Fermi. And so I remember it very well. I mean, I loved school and I was blessed. Allah gave me a very, very good teacher. And I kept up with her until she passed. And she inspired me really as much almost as my grandmother, because I could touch her, and I could go back and see her when I was in college. And I wanted to be just like Mrs. Moore. She was my kindergarten. But my point is that the answer is the morality. Yes, because even though my public school, I was a little girl, but I can remember that I felt love, but there wasn't that moral there. And so that's what I think is, for me, is the difference, that there was a conscious effort to exhibit moral excellence, yes, and in seeing it, it encouraged us to aspire to become moral excellence, or to,
I'm really not. I concur with my sister Layla. The culture at the school, particularly for teachers, we were to be the example. We were to be in our daily practice, in our instruction, in our interacting with the students. We were to be the example. And so to me, the culture was collective engagement. We were intentional about how we engage with our students. We, and not just teachers, because I think about, and those of you who know about us having our second school on Hill Street, we had people, believers, who made sure we had good meals cooked. We had nutrition. We didn't just have a sandwich or just We had believers who actually helped. And so there was this collective spirit that pervade the whole school climate. That these are our babies, these are our children. And so I think some of that is missing today. I come from a background of, like Angela, I was the last class to graduate before integration. And so our Black teachers poured into us. Yeah, we got secondhand books and we didn't have all the chemistry materials and things like that. But our teachers poured into us, not just curriculum and not just academics, but you got to make it out there in the world. So you need to know this, you need to know that. You don't have a cushion to fall back on. Your moms and your dads may not be doctors and lawyers and whatever it is that they can scoop you up out of trouble. And so you got to be the best. So that's what I brought, and that's what our teachers brought to that climate, that we have to help these children be morally sound. We have to help them know how to navigate life. And so we breathed into them. We had affirmations, Angela. We had affirmations that the children would say in the mornings when they came in, you know, to make them feel good about themselves. And then throughout the day, there were just things that were going on that gave them a sense of our intention was to make them feel good about themselves. I'll stop there.
And I think the only other thing that I would add to that sense of culture is a sense of safety. I think that's really important. It's something that we did, so you don't have to think about other things, right? We could focus on being where we were, we could focus on friendships, we could focus on the affirmations, and never, like, I can't imagine being a child and having like armed intruder drills. Like that, to me, not that robbed you of that innocence of not having to focus on the other craziness that's going on. So we had a feeling of safety, where we could laugh and play and roll around, but then, you know, we had to be in line for them prayers. We didn't play with the going. So that it was still that discipline of things that we had to do, and we were eating good food that was prepared. So yeah, that's what that was. What resonated with me was just that culture that absolutely involved a sense of safety.
Thank you. It was making me think about this moment in the film, with the archive of Muhammad, where he's emphasizing, you know, we have to invest in the future of our children. He said, we have to invest in the future of our children. If we don't have that, we don't have much at all, right? And this is very crucial. I guess it's very crucial. And speaking of the archives of the film, I want to give a shout out again, a lot of award him for all the work he's done over the years. This brother in Atlanta, Brother Hassan Shakir, who is the founder of Talk About Media Production. So Brother Hassan has been documenting Brother Hassan has been documenting through video the community for the past 50+ years, and he graciously opened up his home to me and one of my producers for us to try and find anything we needed for the film. And it's not an organized archive, but our intention is to organize and digitize this entire archive. But alhamdulillah, we were able to use all the VHS archives you see in the film from the other side. So alhamdulillah. This next question is for Sister Layla as well. With the work you're doing today, what do you, with the work that you're doing today, what can you share with us in regard to the team of educators that you're working with on curriculum and policy for the federal high schools?
So I'll begin with this. So there was a establishment of a nonprofit 501c3 back in the late 70s, possibly maybe even 80s. Sister Clara Muhammad Memorial Educational Foundation. And it was established by my mother, Sister Shirley Muhammad. May Allah have mercy on her, guys.
Take your child.
I'm sorry.
Take your child.
My mother passed just November 27th. It'll be 3 years. So, alhamdulillah, I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, maybe I'm tired. So anyway, my mother was close to my grandmother. When my father was in prison, she and I lived with my grandparents. And my grandmother, according to my mother, became her mother. And she saw everything that my grandmother went through in all aspects of her life. And so she wanted to honor her work. Thank you, brother. She wanted to honor her work. So she established this foundation, and she didn't try to figure out how to do it. She actually used to go to a resale shop that was run by some Jewish women. And she began to ask them questions about what they were doing. They told her. She asked my father, could her and some sisters open up the old clothing store, and could they have all the old shoes that were in there? And they opened up a resale shop, and then they started the foundation in honor of Sister Clara Muhammad. And the scholarships to people to African schools, and it continued. They had what we call now our banquets, but they had something called the black and white dinners. They honored people like Harold Washington, the football player, etc. And this was all in Clara Muhammad's name for her. And then my mother needed to be closer to home to take care of my youngest brother, Sadi. Saluddin, may Allah have mercy on him and me. So it dissolved. But then 2007, I think, Imam Muhammad asked myself and Dr. John Yassin if we would be willing to reestablish it. And of course we said yes, because I remember even shadowing my mother along with the work. And so he said, we'll get Shirley's permission. And so we did. She was the honorary chair. The organization was reestablished. It still exists now. If we have the 501c3, you can Google it. And it has specifically really two branches. One is policy. One of the goals was to make sure, real simple, that the children that went to the schools knew who she was. And we began to work with educators and formulate policy. One policy was that there should be some type of class for students, for their parents, and even the community in the area to know who this person is. And then there were other policies that we worked on. And the second branch of it was specifically like monetary funding, giving scholarships to students, and also giving scholarships or assistance to the staff. We did a lot of work around that. We did something with the man from Canada, Tony something, I forgot, and the United Nations, and they actually gave money. And sister, used to be the principal in Atlanta. She was, Sophia, she was one of the recipients of that financial help. That was like really back in the day when people didn't know so much about electronics and technology. So it was around that. And that's still what we're doing, but specifically now, there are two things that we do. The schools that are still active, their principal and another representative meets every month on curriculum. And they meet via Zoom and that kind of thing. Imam Muhammad, for decades, asked the educators, and I will say us, because I also taught at the Clara Muhammad School, to have a unified curriculum. And when he said unified, he gave us real simple instructions. He said, I want, if the student leaves Chicago school and his parents move to North Carolina, they shouldn't feel lost. It should be a unified curriculum. He also said he wanted that curriculum to be standardized and to be accepted and approved by the local education, okay? He's still working on that. And the other part of it is we are, when I say we, the directors of the foundation and the president's Dr. John Yassin, the vice president is Dr. Hamid Elmin, and then I'm a director. Sister Clara from DC is one of the directors, and we have a younger person that just started a couple of years ago. And oh, I can't think of the young sister's name. Kenya, I think it is. But she's from the school, she graduated, and she's the other girl, one educator. She's from Philadelphia. But we are trying to raise money. I mean, we need a lot of money because it is not easy to keep a private school open. And what we want to do is, I think it's about 6 or 7 schools now. We just want to help them. And so this is where our efforts are now, reaching outside of our community, because we drain the pockets in our community. We're looking to get some money from some big folks, so make some duos that some of these people like Alicia Keys and other folks give us some money for our schools.
From Muslim athletes.
Yes. Muslim athletes, yes.
Last few questions before we open up to the audience. And we have to kind of segue to more current, present day matters. Dr. Rhonda, as someone who's been a part of the teaching staff, administrative staff of the school system, what do you feel are the most urgent needs facing the Clara Muhammad School network today? Just to lay the touch on it a bit in terms of resources, but is there anything that you want to specifically share as well?
Yes. Some of the most pressing needs, of course, is finances. But I think even before finances is the whole notion of commitment. Commitment. During the early days of our existence, what we call the first resurrection or the first movement or whatever we call it, experience. Thank you, brother. During that time, we didn't know that we didn't know. Okay. And so we went out on faith. That's right. We did a lot on faith. We didn't look at others and think that we were less than or we were a deficit. So I think that what has happened is that it's comfortable, it's easy, it's a sort of laissez-faire attitude that, public school guys, our children don't turn out too badly. So we don't have to put forth that effort like we did during the first movement. One of my Muslim professor friends invited me to Senegal, Dr. Youssef over there, and I spoke on the 100th anniversary of Brother Malcolm. And it was but what I really want to talk about is the education. I admire him. I admire Brother Youssef because he made the bold move to move his children and his family to Senegal because he did not want them to be educated in the American education system. That's a bold move. Okay. And, what kind of bold moves are we ready to make at this point? We have, back in the 60s and 70s, we had 40 to 50 Clara Muhammad schools. We may have 4 or 5 now, and some weekend schools. And some of us struggle with those weekend strong and whatever we want to call them. We struggle to have that. But just a small dose of Islam will carry our children. And the moral fiber in this country makes it ripe for Islamic education. But do we have the will? Do we have the commitment to undertake this? Because if we don't, the generation after Angela is lost. I'm serious. They will not only not know about us, but they will be absorbed in this decadent way of life. And so it's important for us to think about these things and see where we are psychologically, spiritually, because it's one thing to quote the Quran and to say what Imam Muhammad said, but how many of us are putting this into practice and this is a part of our daily life? I'm just sharing. I'm not teaching, I'm just sharing. You know, and I'm gonna take 2 more minutes, brother. My father became a Muslim in 1954. He was a musician in Baltimore, Maryland. 4 years later, he moved to North Carolina. Put away his guitar, disbanded his band, the whole nine, okay? Moved his family, my mother thought he was crazy. Moved his family to an unknown place, came here, some people say $50, but daddy said 25, whatever. But he came here, left his family, came here to establish this way of life, plowing the ground, making it fertile. Didn't know from where monetary things were coming. 3 years later, in 1963, Malcolm X comes to our house and stays a few days. Duke University wouldn't let him speak. UNC would not let him speak. North Carolina Central University, my alma mater, would not let him speak because he was too radical. Okay. 4 years later, Muhammad Ali comes and stays a week because his title has been taken away from him. So how do you think this makes an impression on a 13 or 16-year-old girl? I just want you to think about that. That was my education. Before I went to school, that was my orientation. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came to our masjid. Couldn't get through the doorway because he was too tall. But I'm a young black girl, seeing all of this, feeling a sense of pride. Poor, yes, but not really poor in spirit. Not really. And so I ask us, there are a lot of seniors in here today. But let's go back and reach some of our young people. It makes me feel good to see Morgan. That's right. It makes me feel proud to see a brother Morgan. Absolutely. Codifying what we have done. Because it's no small feat. It's no small feat. We are better than what we think we are. We are not a deficit model. So I'm hoping, brother, when we leave here today, we're charged. We're fortified to go out here and do whatever it is we can do. Is it filmmaking? Is it baking? Is it cooking? Is it sharing with the next young person? Let's do what we can do. Because otherwise, history will write us off.
I do want to take a pause before we open up to audience Q&A. The time just moves very fast. In terms of thinking about call to action, Dr. Ron shared a lot of powerful things, and I also want to share some work that our team is doing outside of just the film. So we set out an intention to have this social impact strategy where beyond the film, we want to do a nationwide project of oral histories of former teachers and students of University of Islam and Clara School. And that work has already started to be put on a website. But there will be a digital map. You can hover over a location or a University of Islam or Clara School within, and you can hear stories, you can read stories, you can look at pictures. So I just want to give a quick preview of that website. One second. Back on the projector.
Yeah, it might have turned off as a
Projector turned on.
Yeah, it is. It's turned on. It is turned off.
Yes.
Because the light was hitting the.
Oh, okay. Oh, now, this is gonna be a quick. And then also, we're waiting for that, if everybody get one of these at the table. If not, we should have extra, but, inside, it's just a small token of appreciation, for something that can be activated, are these bookmarks. And not only are the bookmarks reminding me, keep reading, it's part of all the technology that's in our face. It's in the bag, the bookmark in the bag. But also there's a QR code on the front where we just want some feedback on the film, what's your thoughts on the film. And then there's also an opportunity to continue supporting the resources, our intentions for what we're doing. So one of those is this website that we're looking at now. It's still in development, but it is live, clarasfruit.com. So if you go to clarasfruit.com, you'll be able to see the film. You'll also get to get a little bit of better understanding of the journey of the film that I was sharing a bit earlier. That's on the sign right there. Me and his house, with all his archive. And then as we go down, this is what I was speaking on. So it's still in development, so it's going to be much more interactive. But we started collecting stories. We have collected about 50 stories so far between Atlanta, Chicago, and New York. But I'm sure some folks in this room who might be graduates or have attended University of Islam or Clara School as a teacher or a student, you have stories as well, and we want to hear those stories. So I'll give you a quick example of what that looks like. It's New York.
Keep going. New York, keep going. Right there. Wrong. I see.
Right now.
So here's an example of Abdul Kabir Islam, New York, sharing a bit of his story. Here.
It's moving. Here.
Here.
I don't think you're plugged in.
Oh, I'm not plugged in? 1 second.
Recognize, as you're doing already, the fruit of Clara Muhammad from 1933, when she introduced her husband to a person that she heard that believed had essential necessary knowledge that would help us grow and develop fisabilillah, for the pleasure of Allah, for Allah's sake. And here we are today, 2024, December 28th, about to come to 2025, and I'm just so excited that we believe in Allah. We don't believe in Republicans and Democrats, independents and green parties and all the others. We believe in the true essence of the human being that Allah has placed on this creation to be here, to share the experiences we have from our different cultures. And I believe to some degree, to a large degree, unfortunately, the culture of the African American community is self-extermination because of the modern day mindset of influence of the social media that has hacked too many minds in the African American community.
All right, so I'll leave you on a cliffhanger right there. But the idea is that we're going to keep collecting these stories, and we want as many people as possible to contribute to them. So if you go to our website, there's a button that says submit your story, and you can do it yourself with just any type of audio recording device. we'll get that, and then we can publish it, on the site. Then also you can connect with us directly if you rather, do the conversation over Zoom, or inshallah, if we have the ability to come to you in person, we can do that, as well. But I just wanted to show you all, that it's more than a film, it's more than just watch something for 15 minutes. It truly is an ongoing initiative to preserve this history and remind those who are not familiar, and remind those who are connected, who may be much younger, that this is where they came from. We can now open it up to the audience for any Q&A. We turn the lights back on. Not necessarily. You can just share, and we'll have it on there. So, we turn the lights. All right, so we have that mic at the table, and then I'll be out here. If anyone has a question, they can come forward.
Wanted to say a few words. I didn't get.
We can hear you.
Okay, I didn't hear all of the panelists. I heard most of it. But I just wanted to say, the University of Islam in North Carolina, there were several universities in North Carolina. The first one was started here in Raleigh. And then, in 1971, and Imam on his wife, Mr. Mark, was emphasis behind opening a university. And Sister Mark said, their door. I was the first director for the University of Islam here in Raleigh. There, in 1971, I can remember being asked if I would serve as the director, if I recall correctly from other conversations with Rhonda at the time, the Honorable Muhammad did not, that he wanted people who had college degrees to serve as the principal of the school. And at the time, I'm 21-year-old, I had graduated from college, wasn't in education. I was new in the division and just really got the letter. And I accepted the invitation to serve as the director. I really didn't know what it involved, but I had I was committed to this work as a movement in the nation, because I did have that then, or really wanted to see a difference for our people. That really motivated me. And I saw the nation of Islam at that place. But just to say, it was established here in Raleigh on East Martin Street, in a little shotgun house. And it grew to the point where we had to move to Hill Street. And I, as the director, and having moved a lot myself, my family, I still have a law showing the payment that teachers receive $25 a week. Of course, out of that had come tuition. Everybody pays tuition. Mine was $50 a week. And what can you do with $50 a week? Even though, or 25, even though things were cheaper, but there was a commitment, there was a dedication. There are still people living today that I hope you get information who are taught in the University of Islam. There are still students who graduated from, they're not a part of our community now, but they still live around here in Raleigh and Durham. So the University of Islam was the prelude to Sister Clara Muhammad School, but she operated from 1971 to about 1976. When we closed and all of that transition and people leaving, coming and going, and our school ended up closing. Then the school in Durham opened in the 80s as the Clara Muhammad School. So we want to get that chronology correct. So what I wanted to say,
I think Brother Nasif back then, I represented. He was a teacher at the University of Islam. I think Sister, and that's here in Mom. I see Sister Wakila over there. That was the University of Islam in Charlotte. Sister Dr. University. That school, oh, I want to say in 1972, 73, something like that. But it was the longest running school that went from the University of Islam to Clara Muhammad School. I had closed in the 80s or something. But, so we don't want to overlook those others who were part of the University of Islam, Sister Wakila, and there was, like Sister Jean Rothman. I don't know where her daughter is. I see her back there. Newark, New Jersey, originally from North Carolina. She was the director of the school in Newark. And she was telling some people about that on Friday, if you recall. Because I had no knowledge of how University of Islam was supposed to run, Sister Margaret and I went to Newark. And Sister Jean gave me like a day in the life of how to go and set up school. And, then I had to come back and implement that. Of course, with the help of Sister Margaret, we were able to get that school set up, University of Islam. So I just remember the sacrifice. Sister Janice is here. She was a teacher, kindergarten, 4-year-old, started early. So, not in 3, yes. But I'm saying, if you don't get these stories, stuff sort of be going out of your mind, so you don't remember everything correctly. But, so we want to remember, I pray Allah that those who are here, and like Sister Latifah was here last night, Sister Ruth, all those sisters and brothers who sacrificed, we need their stories. Yes, so thank you so much.
Everything that I said was so deeply felt for me. I started off with the Muhammad School, actually tutoring when I was in high school. And then when I went to college, I worked as a teacher assistant at the Muhammad School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay. And then when I graduated from college, I taught, right? Fresh out of the base, we got a dog for you. I taught at the Muhammad School. And then I married a man who went to the Muhammad School. And my mother-in-law, who is here now, was a principal at the Muhammad School in New York. So I'm going to talk here to share something because I know how much you're going to Oh my God. Assalamu alaikum. How's my family? It's my 50th year too. No, I'm so very thankful to Allah because I was magically, or a better word, I was blessed to find this community in 1975, a month after one came on. And as a teacher, I was just, for lack of words, I was so happy because this was the best community that I could ever find. And after I had heard NFN Muhammad at a Mother's Day program, I said, this is my community. And I took my Shahada quiz. I didn't know anything about Islam. My mother raised me as a Christian, and when I told her I was going to the mosque to listen, not even to become a Muslim, she said, if you go there on 116th Street, you take your suitcase and everything with you. Wow. As long as you live in my house, you do my way. When you get on your own, you do what you want. And there was wisdom in that from her because later on, I said, Simone, you raised me so open-minded. How could you be so close to something like Islam? She said, I didn't want you to get involved
to the wrong group. Now, what kind of wisdom is that? You know, and then I had a grandmother. I didn't understand why she would give her all to Oral Roberts.
Yeah.
I remember.
I'm walking with shoes with hardwood.
Yeah.
Cardboard from Fred Brown's my sister's shoes. Come on now.
Well, did you sneak out or did you wait till you got out on your own?
I had to wait. Oh, I wanted to. I'm not Come on.
Lightly dressed.
No, when I graduated from college, I was a dance teacher. But I heard I couldn't dance. That broke my heart. What? And even now, it's hard to get more than one day a week for the sisters to come together and party together. Come on now.
Yeah. Come on, there.
When I heard that one, Muhammad, I wanted to write down every word he said. Because I knew he was a special man, and he had a certain language, and me, I was 25. With that language, I learned about Islam, I learned about the Prophet, I learned about Allah. You know, I even learned por el nombre de Allah, el benéfico, el misericordioso. Allah es uno. Allah es el quien todos dependen.
Alhamdulillah. Atlanta.
Assalamu alaikum. There are 15 certified Muhammad full-time and part-time students in America. Yes, and we don't know, it's 15. And those of you who are in the South, most of them probably be able to comprehend that this year, New Medina will be celebrating 40 years of existence, a Muslim city, a Muslim town, and some of you never been there in your life.
Come on.
Never permit me. It never changed. Memorial weekend. I want to see you there. Inshallah.
I would just say, I am a third generation Muslim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Angel Muhammad. I'm a third generation Muslim, right here from the Raleigh-Durham area. I am not a product of Clara Muhammad Schools, but I am a product indirectly of Clara Muhammad Schools because of my mother and the community that came from the Nation of Islam and Sister Clara Muhammad School. And one of the things I wanted to pose to the panel, are we asking questions? Okay. One of the questions I have for the panelists is that now and today, I want to make everything relative to today when it comes to education, and in particularly African-American children and Muslim children at that. I am an early educator, child development. I manage our child care center. I'm in the process of finishing up my master's in public administration and policy. So I identify. And what my question is that under this current administration and the climate that we're in, we have to think about the macro. And when it comes to education, what are your thoughts on how can we take the institution and Clara Muhammad school system And how can we make it beneficial to not just our Muslim children or our Muslim community, but to the broader community as well?
For the record, who is your mother? Everybody don't know who your mother is.
I am the youngest daughter of Dr. Rhonda Muhammad and the granddaughter of Muhammad and Sister Margaret Rosemary.
I'll start by just saying a part of it is you getting your degree in public policy and putting those policies. People don't have to know where it comes from.
Right.
People don't have to know when you suggest something where and where that idea came from. They'll take it because it's good work.
Right.
They know it's allowed. They don't need to know that. But where did that come from? That's a wonderful idea. That's right. Just stuck it on in there. Let's
I totally agree. And I would say that we should do what we all do, because I know that all these sisters in here and the brothers gonna bear witness. African American women for generations, and men too, but I can't speak because I'm not, but as I want to correct that, it's probably me too. But we women, if you don't have a knife and you need to cut something, you're gonna make a knife. So let's not get concerned about what the policies are. Study and do like Allah says, He created us as thinking men and women, and think and figure out how to work this system. Because I'm not worried about the administration.
Right.
And my parents taught me to respect the office. So President Trump, I'm gonna look at what you're doing and figure out how to make it work for me.
Right.
Now, I will say, I'm getting ready to put you on the spot, my brother, because you know we've been talking about this. Brother Mateen, he's from a community called Hizmet, which means service. They are not all Turkish, but they are birthed, in the Turkish culture. They're Muslims. They have an excellent way of working with the system because they don't have full-time schools. But you talk to any of them and find out how many kids they have, how many children they have, what is going on in their communities with their youth. And they have a system. And I think we should take a look at the system. Next thing, because I kept hearing it, but we didn't touch on it from the beginning with the University of Islam. And I could bear witness when I went to the University of Islam, but I heard from other people, and you probably know this, it was never a school just for Muslims. Clara Muhammad School was never a school just for Muslims. It was a place of morality and safety and quality education. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted the teachers to have degrees. And a lot of them did. My principals did, but not all my teachers. But all my teachers, they had the commitment and they had the faith to educate themselves outside of those walls. And when me and my fellow classmates, when we graduated in 1975, our standardized tests got us in the best schools in Chicagoland area. And I was 15 years old. My test got me into the University of Illinois at the Circle campus. Now I have dated myself because they don't even call it Circle campus anymore. But yes, so we should never think that our schools are not for the other children, but also we should be smart because everybody now is looking for a school. And it's not just about morality. It's a whole lot about safety. And I don't care if you don't even like Muslims, you're gonna know from these movies that the Nation of Islam ain't gonna let nobody come in and do nothing to your child. So you gotta take advantage of the need. Take advantage of the need and give these children, all of these children, a good school.
I want to read Dr. Judy's response. Director Morgan asked Dr. Rashid, what advice would you offer to young Black Muslim educators today who want to teach, lead, and shape new models of education? So I'm going to read her response. And whatever they seek to do, think, or say, I would advise them to first come from a place of humility, gratitude, steadfast commitment, and service to Allah. Taking this stand from the inception of seeking to carry out their desires as an educator will shape their professionalism in extraordinary ways, well beyond what they or the world has seen. I would further submit that taking such a position as described above is the key to realizing one's true professionalism that surpasses all the degrees, prior training, and work experience that one may have obtained. A vivid example of this statement is as follows. Though all of our teachers were college educated at Sister Clara Muhammad School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, one of the best decisions that I made as a principal was to hire a sister in Damascus with only a high school diploma to be the pre-K and kindergarten teacher. She just loved children, loved the religion through her active service in the masjid, and was a remarkable mom. She taught dozens of Muslim children who went on and achieved many things, including her own daughter, who is now a PhD. I too am a living example of having been instructed by a beloved community of ardent believers and a determined imam to educate our own when I was a young 21-year-old college graduate. I took this inspiration with me after 15 years at Sister Clara Muhammad School and went on to obtain my doctorate because I owed my Lord and my community to be the best that I could be as we had instructed the students to do so. As a school, we demonstrated our commitment to Allah on a daily basis, to exude excellence in everything we did. As a collective, we were determined to do what we said we were going to do. Again, to educate our own. Most profoundly, we were guided by the words of the school song, which we're going to sing in just a few, which we sang very often throughout each week as a reminder of the path that had been laid before us by Sister Clara Muhammad. If you were to find a student today, and there were both Muslim and Christian
example of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
That commitment. Her mother failed 92, right? 96. And she's taking care of her mother. That's why she can't be here.
Right down here.
But she still put the work in. She emailed, she sent the answer to the question. She said, I'm inspired by her. Yeah. So please, let us speak. What's her mother's name? She told us in an email, but please let's thank you.
Yeah.
Because she's 96, but she could be 106. We don't know. So let's keep praying for her that whatever the case, whatever Allah has planned for her and her daughter, her family, may it be smooth and easy and just reward them. But that's just this.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Beautiful reminder to keep her in our prayer. She's still on the assignment. Very diligent, emailed her responses for us to read on her behalf. So she's here. She's here. She was here in spirit. Alhamdulillah. Omar, are we ready? Our sound guy. Okay. So again, the lyrics are in your in your program. So please sing along. I don't know the song, but I have the lyrics, so I'm gonna read them.
This song, my understanding was composed by Sister Diane.
Yes, okay. She's Sister Daya, Okay, thank you for that. We will need to give her credit for that, inshallah. Well, we can still put that in there. Thank you so much. Is it playing, Omar? I may just play it from my phone and just hold the mic to my phone for the sake of time, because we do have to get Brother Morgan to the airport. Oh.
The things that you must learn. Now you always was the best. Now it's true and righteousness. It's a cloud. Right here. Keep working struggle and we may have a place to flow today. Sister Clara, Muhammad, soon. We will have the final lesson. How proud we are to wear her name. Her memories we hold dear. She opened the doors of knowledge for us. We thank Allah for her. Her blood has not gone in vain. This green will remember her name. For we will feel our future strong. With the proof that she stood on. Sister Clara, Muhammad, soon.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Before we do that, I just want to thank, small tokens of appreciation to Director Morgan and our panelists that are here with us today. So let's give another round of applause to Director Morgan, trying to eat. And, Sister Layla, thank you so much. Small token of appreciation. Dr. Rhonda,
small token of appreciation. And beloved Sister Nessa, thank you so much. And we will get to give to Dr. Dr. Judy Rashid. So again, thank you to our panelists, thank you for Director Morgan for flying in. Thank you again to the Imam Worthy Muhammad 50th anniversary, 50th golden anniversary interfaith planning team. This wouldn't be possible without them. Round of applause to the interfaith planning team. Thank you to Brother Omar Griffin, our sound and tech guy. Omar, take a step out so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you to the brother, to Imam Salami Muhammad, Sister Munda's son-in-law, the facilities manager who helped us with everything. He purchased the screen so that we would have, you know, an adequate viewing coverage for the documentary. So thank you to As-Salam Islamic Center. Thanks. Son.
Son-in-law.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's her son. I'm sorry. That's your son. These are her daughter-in-law. I'm sorry, her son. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the Nexus for hosting us. Yeah, and Imam Oliver. Okay, I'm just getting off of you. Thank you to everybody. Imam Oliver, are you still going to come forward and acknowledge the educators from the Raleigh-Durham area that were associated with the Sister Clara Muhammad School, or are we just gonna have everyone to stand? Okay, so anyone that attended University of Al Islam or Sister Clara Muhammad School, or you were a teacher or were affiliated in some way, please stand up. Regardless of where you're from, around the country, give yourselves a round of applause. You know, people travel from all over North Carolina, New York, Houston. We have people from all over, so thank you for being here to help us to celebrate Sister Clara Muhammad on her actual birthday. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention I'm gonna mention two books as well, but this is a new children's book about Sister Clara Muhammad that was authored by Sister Sophia Shahid, the former principal of the school in Atlanta. So the book just came out, the story of Sister Clara Muhammad in the first Islamic school in North America. It was edited by Sister Quran Shakir and illustrated by her brother, who has passed on. May Allah have mercy on his soul, grant him forgiveness and entrance into paradise, Brother Alan London. The QR code is on the back of your program. You can scan that QR code and order your book through Sister Quran's publishing company, Bubi Publishing. And then also, there are QR codes for the purchase of the two books, Volume 1 and Volume 2, Mother of the Nation, Clara Evans Muhammad, wife of Elijah Muhammad, mother of Imam Deputy Muhammad by Dr. Zakiya Muhammad. It's a 2-volume book. May Allah have mercy on her soul, grant her forgiveness and entrance into paradise. Yes, we're gonna let Sister Layla speak. Okay, yes.
If we look on the social media spaces, we may be able to see a program. It's on now. It's on right now. Yeah, they're doing a program in reference to this book today in Atlanta. The other thing I wanted to say, because I thought I would figure out a way to bring it in, but I didn't. So if you see the common picture of my grandmother, I have her watching. She had a whole lot of granddaughters. But I just happen to be Shirley's daughter. And my aunts, Ethel and Brian, knew the relationship with my mother. So they were given to my mother. And then my mother actually gave them to me. When I reached the age where she felt that I would understand what I meant. And lastly, if you would like to see and bring me to your town or city, I have a beautiful collection of artifacts around my grandfather, my grandmother, my father. I have the purse that my father made from Camel cigarettes when he was in the penitentiary for me. So, and the reason I'm saying it is because, you know, and I just need to.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. That's no small prize, Robert. Thank you so much. There's one more book I want to mention that's also on the back. If you have to see your program, there's another book that I was not aware of, Brother Morgan said you can't leave this book off. It's a book called The First National Independent Islamic School System in America by Imam Daniel Kareem, one of the oldest living students from the University of Islam, Islamic and Arabic scholar and close friend of Imam Muhammad. So the QR code for that book is on the back as well. So thank you all so much for joining us. Travel safely. May Allah be with us always. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, Imam Wahid, I'm sorry. Before we leave, Imam Wahid is going to close out the weekend for us.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's thank Brother Morgan Matthews and our panelists again, please. Excellent way to conclude our weekend activities. I don't want to say too much, but I do want to call up Dr. Peter, Dr. Abe, and Matee. They would come up and say a word or two or three or four or even more.
You want to stand? I'd like to stand.
So it's been a great blessing to be here at this interfaith weekend. Among many things, we had many meetings over 6 months with our esteemed leader, Imam Abdul Wahid, AKA our Coach K. And I feel very blessed to have been a participant in this interfaith gathering. I'll just lift up one thing that Imam Wahid said yesterday that I thought was very fitting and important to remember. He talked about I don't know if I got this right, the community of Triangle that we planted in the Triangle. Voila. And he also said 3 times, not to make a big deal about 3 here. Action, action, action. So I feel convicted. I'm truly humbled. My heart feels really heavy. I just want to thank, I'm really grateful to be part of it. I want to thank Imam Wahid for allowing us to be part of this. And for me, my wife, and for our entire community. There's a saying in our community, it's very well known. It's a quote from Imam Sayyid Nursi. He says, when 2 people get together, the power is normally just 2, 1 and 1. But if they stand together as true brothers, the power will be 11. So that's how I feel with Imam Wahid. Inshallah, we have many things that we'll do in the future, and keep us in your prayers. Thank you again.
This morning I sent Diane and Jaswina and Stephen back to Atlanta, and they said if I had a chance to say anything, to make sure to send their greetings and let you all know how thankful they were to be here with you. And Diane said, my heart's so full. So she was very moved and felt like she made a lot of contacts, and it was a really big blessing for all of them. And yeah, we had a lot of meetings to discuss this. And you know, it wasn't really clear how it would go, you know, how many people would come or how well it would go. And I think it's been very beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also, PR would also say there was great strength, you know, where two or more gathered, and I think that's right there, you know, so, you know, we talked about that too, God among us. And, I also wanted to say something about schools, you know, we talk about this a lot about Catholic schools as well, you know, when I was a little girl, there were 5 million kids in Catholic schools, and now there are about 1 million in the United States. So it's not the same as it was. And some of the reasons aren't all bad. I mean, I went to a Catholic girls' school and they didn't offer physics or, you know, advanced math. They just assumed we would be happy with French. So I've never seen reasons that Catholic schools really work better, you know, but I think we did learn about God, you know, and that's what our public schools aren't offering. And I think it's hard to, I think that's probably the most important reason to have good schools, and that's what our kids can learn about God, and that they can be centered in God, and that because of God, they should realize their potential, who they are, and that they should have good education, so everything can follow that. So I think there are a lot of similar discussions happening on campus as well. And Catholic school teachers also make lousy salaries, so absolutely also know that was. But I'd like to thank you all. Just thank you.
We're gonna ask you all to pray for the success of our new group effort. We're not playing, be serious. We are very serious. I would like for the planning team to please stand one last time. And you know, played a very intricate role. Like building a house, the plumber couldn't do it all. So we all made our contributions. And again, we pray a lot that we be successful going forward. But we do intend to do this again. And as our law says in the ground, early, your future will be better than your present. We believe that. So get on such our Lord, please never let our hearts deviate after you guide us. Grant us mercy from your presence, for you the grantor of bond without measure. Our Lord, please perfect our life. Grant us forgiveness, for you have power over every single thing. Amen.